Hello everybody, Austin Hill Shaw here, founder of Creativity Matters and author of The Shoreline of Wonder on Being Creative. First off, I want to thank all of you for your incredible outpouring in response to the Peru trip, the healing and self-expression trip that my wife Epiphany and I are offering this coming June. We are so excited for this retreat, the opportunity to bring 10 people down and share some of the things that we love most, including retreat practice, including creativity, including healing, including plant medicine. All these things are deeply meaningful to Epiphany and I, and we're really excited to share that with you all. I'm going to talk a little bit about the relationship between creativity and healing in just a second. But first of all, I want to talk about this space that I'm in right now. I'm currently at a retreat center, a retreat and wellness center called Prana Del Mar. And Prana Del Mar is located between Cabo San Lucas and Todos Santos in Baja California, right on the Pacific coast. And it's a remarkable place, one, because it's absolutely beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's just, you have this incredible views of the ocean and the mountains. But the other thing that's really meaningful about this center to me is that I designed it. I designed the entire thing. I designed it starting in 2005 through 2009 when it opened. And then in 2011 and 2012, we added a second practice space, which is the space I'm sitting in right now, which is this building is called, well, it's called officially here, it's called the Moon Studio, but what I like to call it is the light box. That's the way that I think of it. And the whole idea about this is that most of the buildings on this retreat center, including the community building, including the condominiums, including the other big practice space, they're all big extroverted buildings in the sense that they have these huge views to the ocean and the mountains and the desert, and the views are astounding. They're absolutely gorgeous. But we have this opportunity to put in the second studio, the second practice space. I suggested to the owner, why don't we make an introverted space? A space that allows people to not be drawn into the big views, but to go back internally and start to see their lives in a different way. But at the same time, I wanted to draw on this brilliant, beautiful, unique Mexican light, which I've always loved. It's just the way the light is in here, in Mexico, and especially down here in the desert, it's just brilliant. It has an incredible quality to it. So this idea for the light box was born. And essentially what we did is that when you come up to this building, you don't see any windows at all. All you see is one door leading in. And then you come through this hallway, make a procession, then you step into this space. And this space is based on a proportioning system. Actually, the whole retreat center is based on a proportioning system called the golden rectangle, or the golden mean. The golden rectangle, if you've ever seen a nautilus, if you've ever seen a spiral going around in a rectangle, that's essentially the golden that is the golden rectangle. It's also sometimes known as the Fibonacci Series. And if you look here on the Prana Del Mar official water bottle, you can see the symbol sort of stylized right here. Here's the rectangle, and here's the spiral. And the reason this is significant is because it's a proportioning system, but it's ubiquitous in nature. It's been used in art and architecture for hundreds and thousands of years. And really what it is a system that codes for growth and beauty. The way it works is that basically there's a short segment and a long segment. See that? There's a short segment and a long segment. And the way that works is that the short segment is to the long segment as the long segment is to the whole. Again, the short segment is to the long segment as the long segment is to the whole. And so that sets up a system of growth and beauty that's coded in tons of aspects of life. Like, for example, the distance between the short section of my arm and the long section of my arm is the same proportion as the long section of my arm and the whole. So it's everywhere. You see it everywhere. So we use this system that is just inherent within nature in order to create this space. And not only that, we brought in all this beautiful natural light. You can see that there's these skylights behind me, which basically, they're on the north side, so they get washed with light throughout the day. And then behind, you see there's a shrine up there. There's a hidden skylight behind there, so as the day goes on, you watch the light play out besides the statue of the Buddha. And then up over here, there's a skylight here, which is called the Eye of God. And really, the reason it's called the Eye of God is the name that in the Middle Ages that the folks gave to this vanishing point in the golden rectangle. And the reason they called it the Eye of God is because this whole series is basically determined by something called phi. Phi is an irrational number like pi. It's a number with a decimal point that doesn't repeat itself ever. It just keeps going and doing different iterations, which makes it an irrational number. But that vanishing point, the place where it spirals into, they used to call the Eye of God because it's this special place. And so here we marked it out by having this diagonal skylight. And the other thing that's so cool about this room is that this is Prana Del Mar sits just right below the Tropic of Cancer. So during summer solstice, when the sun is running directly over here, right over noon, about noontime, this beam of light shoots in there and just lights this place up. And I gotta say that I was very inspired by Raiders of the Lost Ark as a little kid. And when Indiana Jones put that staff in and that beam of light showed on where the Ark of the Covenant was, I don't think I've ever gotten over that. I just think I love to bring natural light and the beauty and the expression of light into all the projects that I do. So the point of all this is that I have a lot of experience creating experiences within retreat settings. This is not the only retreat center that I've designed either. I also did a rehabilitation of a Buddhist retreat center in the coastal hills of California over a 2-year period. So there's something about retreat, first of all, that is really important to me. And not only that, as a practitioner of Tibetan Buddhism, as a Vajrayana Buddhist, retreat practice is one of the key components. And the reason it is so important is that all of us get caught up in our lives. We get caught up in the day-to-day, the maintenance, all the things that we think we should or shouldn't do. And so retreat practice, first and foremost, is a way by which we can step outside our lives. And you can do that in the short term by having a daily meditation practice or whatever practice you have. You can take your weekend off. That's the beauty of a weekend. I think a lot of us, unfortunately, work on the weekends these days. But additionally, again, that Sunday was a day of rest and rejuvenation, reflection. You can do it for a week. I've done it as much as 3 months. And in Tibetan Buddhism, there's a traditional 3-year retreat. I have a friend right now who is actually on a solo 3-year retreat in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains. Anyways, so I have a lot of experience with retreat. Secondly, creativity. So the relationship between self-expression and healing and self-expression is really profound. If you ask me what the highest expression of creativity is, I would say that it's healing. And the reason it's so powerful and so important to creativity is because all of us, each and every one of us, have things that we're carrying around with us that do not serve us. Some of it is based on our own experience, our own life situations, our own traumas, and things that happened when we were young or earlier in our lives that we just carry around with us. Some of it is based on our paternal lineages, the traumas that were passed down through generations, and also our maternal lineages. And then sometimes in working with clients, there's also a third entity, which is basically what I see is it's almost a collective imprint. It's what karmically we've sort of inherited as a consciousness in this world that we are here to work on. And sometimes that might sound like a burden. That might sound like an inconvenience that why would I need to work on other people's? Why would I need to work on other people's stuff? Why do I need to resolve other things that happened to people long before me? Well, the thing is because it's still an imprint that's affecting the way we humans interact today. And so healing is our willingness to go into those stuck places and liberate the energy that's stuck there, right? as little kids, when we come into the world, I don't want to say that we do come in without imprints. It's already there. But there tends to be this quality of just like openness and curiosity and vitality and love that is the forefront of who we are as beings. And then as adults, we start to shut down on levels. Again, sometimes we hear we're maybe not good enough, or we've done something wrong, or we get hurt in some way. And so we start to shut down pieces of ourselves and say, all right, it's not safe for me to show that. So the process of healing is, again, going into those stuck areas, going into those limiting beliefs, going into those traumas, and of being with them, just allowing to have ourselves of feelings about those, and then accepting them and embracing them, and then bringing them back into our persona. We're like inviting that back in and saying, hey, it's okay for you to be with me in this world now. And the reason that we have a retreat that's not only centered around retreat practice, but plant medicine, is that plant medicines are incredibly skillful at getting into those spaces that sometimes we can keep covered up. My first experience of plant medicine came after I'd been a meditator for about 7 years. And I went into a ceremony, and it was an ayahuasca ceremony, and I had the sense that, I know about how to do this because I'd had some experience with psychedelics before, and I thought, I'm going to know how to handle myself. I'm a meditator. I know what I'm doing. And when I went in for that first meditation, for that first experience, what was shown to me was how arrogant I was. That through the process of learning to be a meditator and taking that on as an identity, that suddenly I had built a wall around myself. That I wasn't fully connected to the world because the meditation, even though it had helped me to work through some issues, it was also blocking me from this felt sense of the life force energy that is the world in which we live. And that first session just showed that to me in full force. It allowed me to heal aspects of myself that I was protecting by having a spiritual practice, okay? Now, spiritual practices can be a way by which we liberate stuck energy. But in my case, again, I was using this tool in order to keep it suppressed, to keep things on the down low, to not be fully connected, to not feel fully alive, okay? So that's one example of the beauty of plant medicines. They have this ability to get into whatever it is that you are holding on to and show you how it's affecting your life, but also help you move towards an alternative, okay? And so that healing process, our ability to go in there, what that does is it starts to bring forth our authentic voice, which I call self-expression. Self-expression isn't based on our personas or our egos. It's our willingness for us to be a channel for the universe, right? None of us made ourselves. None of us created these bodies that we have. None of us created these minds. None of us created this language that we use, right? These are all things that we get to participate in. And yet, as modern Westerners, sometimes we've been seduced by the idea that I have to be a self-made man or woman. I have to do it all myself. I have to rise myself up and be the person that does it all, And that's a ton of pressure that we put on ourselves. So much pressure. And part of this retreat, the whole point of this, is to get us reconnected to the world, to the universe that has given rise to us, that has given this gift of life, and help us to identify what is preventing us from living our life fully and what can help us to move forward in a powerful, purposeful, meaningful, fulfilling way. That is the point of the healing and self-expression plant medicine retreat in Peru. Not only that, again, in this idea of self-expression, when we are able to open ourselves up, when we are able to lead with our heart, we stop being victims of our own life and we start to be channels for all this beautiful, amazing, divine, cosmic energy which keeps us alive on a daily basis. Just this interdependent dynamism, luminous, mysterious world just moving through us. And that is another gift that plant medicine gives us. It's just this felt sense of the experience, the vitality of living in a dynamic, interdependent, deeply mysterious, deeply sacred universe. Deeply sacred. So Epiphany and I are so happy that we get to bring this work to you. And we are really looking forward to receiving your application. If this is something that is of interest to you, if you want a bit deeper sense of fulfillment, if you want more creativity in your life, if you know you have things that you need to overcome, or even if you don't feel like you need something overcome, but you feel stuck in your life, please put in an application. We want to assemble an amazing group here to go down with us and do this work together. We are so excited to share this with you. So again, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your outpouring. If you're ever in Mexico, come to the Prana Del Mar Retreat and Wellness Center. It's definitely worth checking out. You can go on the website, pranadelmar.com. There's always retreats that are going on during the season. At some point, I will be bringing people down here in order to talk about creativity and innovation. we haven't planned it out yet, but I thought, God, what a great idea to talk about creativity, innovation, and design from the point of view from having built this thing over a 5-year period. It just made, the reason that I actually came down here is like, with 2 young kids and the busyness of being in the Bay Area, I just didn't feel I could afford it at the time. But this center just won one of the top 6 yoga centers in North America a couple of months ago. So I finally said to the owner, Eric, okay, I got to see this thing. I'd only been out here in the beginning when it was bare land, and it was during the build out. And now suddenly I'm in this place that's just, wow, it's so much fun to be in here. And I have a TED Talk coming up too this weekend. And so I've had this opportunity to practice and work on this talk. And speaking and presenting is deeply meaningful to me. So to be able to create a talk within this space has just been so unbelievably fun. What can I say? And to watch the light transition throughout the day, it's been so much fun. The last thing I'll leave you with is that just one more story. I know that I'm going on a little bit, but hopefully you'll bear with me. Yesterday I decided to get a massage. I hadn't gotten any body work in several months, and actually body work is something that I try to do at least once a month, just to sort of keep my physical body and also my nervous system and everything just nourished. And I hadn't done anything in a little while. And so I elected to get a massage here. And I met this woman named Ana Maria, a Mexican woman, who instantly she is just the most amazing person. And anyways, the massage and the bodywork centers are actually right in the hallway across from where I am right now. Originally, they were in the community building, which is over here, but just with the nature of Mexican construction, which is mostly concrete, sound tends to reverberate. So when people were moving around and having meals, people would hear it. So we moved them over here. So I came and had my massage over here. It was an amazing massage. And at the end of it, I asked Ana Maria what she thought of this space. And she said, in Spanish, which is just amazing, she said, if I'm having a bad day, if I'm feeling overloaded, if I'm feeling like there's just, I've had to work with somebody who had a lot of stuck energy and I need to release, I just come in and I go sit underneath that skylight, underneath the eye of God, and I just allow myself to feel that light bathing over me and being grounded into the earth. And she didn't know that I call this room heaven and earth. For the skylight's over here, and there's actually low windows on the other side that you can see in pictures. But when she said that to me, I just thought, gosh, that just makes everything worthwhile. When you make something that truly impacts a person's life for the better, it was so meaningful to me. So I hope you get to go on the Peru trip with Epiphany and I. And I also hope that you get to come down here with me sometime in the future in order to experience this, the Prana Del Mar Retreat and Wellness Center in Baja California. It's really been so much fun to be out here. So much fun. Anyways, this is Austin Hillshaw, founder of Creativity Matters and author of The Shoreline of Wonder on Being Creative, reminding you to connect deeply, to make a difference, and to inspire creativity in others. Thank you so much for joining me.